Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Arena Frontier here on Gateway Sports. It's been a while, ladies and gentlemen, and that was not by choice. Unfortunately, I had to take a month hiatus because, unfortunately, a family member of mine had a stroke, and it took a little bit of time to make sure that my family member, which I will say was my mother, and she's doing better now, and all stuff here is ready to go. And I thank you for all who sent the wishes about asking about my mom, the love and care for her, both friends and family, and thank you for that. And hoping for the best, especially in the future for everyone's health, not just for my mom, myself, and everyone here, because unfortunately, anything can happen in an instant like that. So during the hiatus, a lot of things happened during the football world. NAL started, Indoor Football League started, and let's just say when it comes to AIF, more shenanigans has happened. So it's quite a little bit surprising there. And I guess we'll start with the AIF. Because before it went off the air, there was a deal with the North Michigan Muskies on because of how the uniforms have happened and all that stuff with the helmets and all that, and even a player that played on the team actually came out with a YouTube video that is I guess, kind of influential, but documented his journey, especially when it comes to arena football or semi-pro ball, and wasn't looking good, and then the AIF basically kicked him out. Now, another team for the AF got kicked out, but there are some questions whether the league actually was truthful about the reason for it, because let me read out statement. Dealing with the Wyoming Cavaliers. Let's read their statement here. Happened on March 29th. American Indoor Football announced the suspension of Wyoming Cavalry for the 2026 season. The American Indoor Football League office has announced the suspension of the Wyoming Cavalry franchise for the 2026 season, effective immediately. The decision follows a legal review in which the organization was determined to be out of compliance with AIF operational standards and legal requirements. The team was previously issued a formal compliance notice outlining required corrective actions. However, those requirements were not satisfied. Additionally, the organization did not adhere to league mandates regarding the handling of its scheduled Saturday night game. Though I heard things from the game, there wasn't really anything bad, so it's a little bit confusing. The American Indoor Football League has established standards that all members are expected to meet since Terrence Foster, commissioner of the AIF. When those standards are not upheld, the league has a responsibility to take appropriate action to protect the integrity of the game and the overall operation of the league. The Wyoming Cavalry organization will be eligible for review following the conclusion of 2026 for potential reinstatement in 2027, contingent upon meeting all league requirements of receiving league approval. This decision was not made lightly. Foster added, our focus remains on ensuring a stable, professional, and competitive environment for all member teams moving forward. The AF remains committed to maintaining high standards of professionalism, safety, and accountability across the league. Then the Cavalry responded. The Wyoming Cavalry League opponents refused to travel to Gillette. Effectively, we are leaving the American Indoor Football League 3-0. All remain engaged will continue with alternate opponents over the next 2 weeks. Message or email with any questions and go Cavalry. So, yeah, they actually played a different opponent this last weekend. No problem. So, question is, was the AIF pretty truthful? Because, like, I understand the Muskies, but the Cavalry situation is kind of weird. And I don't know, like, it's kind of hard to take the AIF seriously. Also, the AIF did just announce that their championship game and surprise, surprise, being played at the West Michigan Ironman Stadium. Who could have guessed? But it's just weird how that thing is going, and I don't know, like we'll just have to see and all that stuff, and because I thought the AIF was improving, and then of course with the Muskies one was simple. No, not the right uniforms, helmets, and just a lot of questions, especially with some people not getting paid as well. Excuse me. So that takes care of the AIF. So now, I guess we'll go with the other news too before we go break down the games and also kind of a little bit of a quick review of some of the stuff between the other arena leagues. First, we're going to talk about the International Arena League, which both me and Zach Killen, we have some questions, and we still do, but coming out with a new deal now that they announce, and not really surprising, the championship game for their league will be in Las Vegas. Everyone wants to be in Vegas, of course. But the thing that's a little bit interesting because it'll be played at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. Very good, nice arena, in my opinion. And the thing is that the champion is supposed to win $2 million. We'll see if that changes. So it's kind of similar to back in the $1 million game back in the old XFL 2000 day or 2001. Uh, so that's going to be quite interesting. So let's see here. That can the also in the anti-Reese League starts play here and actually at the end of April. So now you got 4 leagues going because the AF1 starts their deal this upcoming week. So that's going to be interesting. Now, speaking of the AF1, strangely, just right before, day before I come back on the show, they finally announced their streaming partner. So here we go. For me, at least, the wait is over. Arena Football 1 is back. The 2026 season kicks off this weekend with 4 can't-miss matchups that promise to deliver fast-paced, high-scoring action to fans across the country. From wall-to-wall hits to highlight reel touchdowns, the AF1 delivers a brand of football that's faster, louder, and closer to the fans. Opening weekend is set to showcase the league's top players and coaches as teams make their first statement in what is sure to be a highly competitive season. This is all where it starts, said AF1 Commissioner Fisher, who actually finally tweeted on his X account yesterday after how many years? Like 2 to 3 years. The AF1 delivers a opening weekend is a celebration of the incredible talent across our league. Players, coaches, and organizations all coming together to put on a great show for our fans. If you love fast, high-scoring, edge-of-your-seat football, arena football is where you need to be this weekend. We're excited for everyone to tune in, come out to games, and be part of the experience that is AF1. The spotlight shines bright on Saturday night as the Minnesota Monsters travel to the defending Arena Crown champions Albany Firebirds to the Vice TV Game of the Week. So, yes, the main, basically, Game of the Week will be played like Vice TV on broadcast television like they did last year. Now, the rest of the games, which we had no idea what the streaming partner was until yesterday, was actually be on the Hometown Network, HTN. I think there is an app for Roku stuff, but there apparently is not one on the phone app, so basically you have to go on the website for that. So far, as of right now, there's not seemed to be a subscription cost for it yet, but we'll see. And strangely, it also the Vice game is supposedly on there if you can't get access to Vice TV, because Vice TV is usually on a cable streaming package and all that stuff there. Same way I'll be able to watch it Saturday night. But so, of course, that game is the Minnesota Monsters at Albany Firebirds at 6 p.m. Eastern. Then you got Michigan Arsenal, Kentucky Barrows on on the Hometown Network. Sunday, 5 p.m. All the other games are on Sunday evening. Oregon Lightning at Washington Wolfpack at 6 p.m. Eastern. And Beaumont Renegades at Oceanside Bombers at 8 p.m. Eastern. All eyes will be on Albany versus begin their title defense in front of a national audience. Firebird head coach Damian Ware knows the challenge and the opportunity ahead. We are super excited to defend the crown. It has been a long time since we lost a game, and we look forward to extending our streak. The league is growing in a positive way. There are several strong coaches and outstanding players across the league. It will take tremendous effort and perseverance to win the championship in 2026. I believe there's a second page and it's loading. So the thing that's quite interesting about that is, oh, here we go. War at it. We can't wait to host teams in Albany. We have a fantastic crowd and great game day experience. the season can't come along fast enough. We will see everyone on April 11th. Whether we're watching from home or feeling the energy live in the ring, the AF1 invites fans everywhere to be part of the action. So, like I said, it shows Hometown Network, where to watch 2026 AF1 Action. Hometown Network provides a link there. Vice TV, Arena Football One YouTube channel, though I don't recall any games being broadcasted on that YouTube channel. And the Arena Football One website just to help out. So they're gearing up here and going through my picks for the games. Believe it or not, this morning, Albany starring quarterback Sam Castanor actually got signed to the Houston Gamblers of the UFL. So that's going to be interesting. So there goes that for AF1 until there, because I will say someone that I've had that we had Luke Miller, who is a big Minnesota Monster supporter, coming from, especially when they were in the Arena League and transferred from the Arena League to the AF1. He's pretty happy right now. So that's going to be interesting. Okay, one more thing before we get to the games that happened this last weekend. Of course, the Arena League, they're one of their newest teams from Monroe, Louisiana, which of course is Monroe Greenheads. They actually just announced last week that their head coach and also director of operations and someone that's well known, and it's actually Bobby Bowden's son, Terry Bowden, and he's in the area because 2023 was his last year of college coaching, and he coached the University of Louisiana Monroe college football team, and now he's going to be the coach and director of football operations. So he's been there a while and got all this. So that brings a pretty good cachet. And far as I know, he hasn't had any Arena League coaching experience. So that's going to be interesting. See if he's someone that's been a long-time college ball coach and see how he goes to, especially this newer style of arena football play calling. So that's going to be interesting, and it's a good sign for the Monroe Greenheads. And also, it does seem that they are planning to expand by 12 next year. So they have 8, so they're supposed to add 4 more by 2020. Well, I think 2 more than 2 there by the end. So it's going to be quite interesting. So we'll see where they haven't announced it, but they did say they're expanding again. So that's kind of good there. So now let's get to basically before I go with a review of the stuff there, because we're already week 5 of the NAL. And just a quick thing, like for so far for the many weeks here, just a reminder, you can mostly stream the games on the National Arena League network on their app or computer. And then some games are on some type of network for, I think, a specific team, but it's on the NAL network. Still works pretty kind of good. I am able to cast because the Rokus don't have the NAL app, but I am able to do it on my iPhone and cast it to my television to get a better look there. Pretty good, depending on what squad is like. Not all broadcasts are the same, but pretty good to have them. And I went with the annual deal for $30, and that's actually a good deal. And boy, if you would have told me what the standings would be for the team right now, I wouldn't be able to believe it right now, because if you were to tell me that that one of the better teams and also kind of league kind of wanting this team to win every year, with the Omaha Beef being winless last place, and I believe they just fired their head coach. We'll double check that in a little bit, but it's like, wow, how quickly the Omaha Beef have fallen on their face. It's quite amazing to see. And well, in a way, yes, in a way, no, because a lot of us in that does the poll here, it just like, it's kind of like karma, because it just seems like they were kind of making this league built for only Omaha Beef to win, kind of similar how the AIF is doing with the West Michigan Ironman. So yeah, let's see here. There were rumors that the head coach was up, but I don't see an announcement, so maybe that was false. But I don't know, if they keep losing, they're not going to make it to the playoffs instead of being winless right now. There's still a chance, but as of right now, that would be a no. And then also the Pablo Punishers, one of the newer teams in International Arena League, becoming one of the top teams, playing very well. And especially since their lead quarterback, former first round draft pick for the Denver Nuggets, Paxton Lynch, got injured, and they're doing well. And also the two Kansas teams that was in AF1 last year, the Southwest Kansas Storm and and Salina Liberty, are also, they're undefeated right now, and they're playing well too. So it's kind of just interesting right now. And then some, even the lower teams, are actually doing better too. But dear Lord, for the Omaha Beef to be this bad, and that hasn't happened, that's gonna hurt really bad right now. So, all right, National Arena League Week 5. First game, we had a close one, and the Southwest Kansas Storm remained undefeated, beating the Colorado Spartans, and Colorado has improved greatly compared to last year. Colorado Spartans was like one of the bottom tier teams. Even though they lost, it's just like they have improved tremendously. Like tremendously good here. Like, and this game was pretty neck and neck the whole game. Like scoring the same deal and all that in the first and second quarter. Then third quarter, it was just a little bit more with the Southwest Kansas Storm and beating the Spartans 48-41. And I like how, even though they, like I said, they lost the Spartans, they have improved well, and I hope they do, because that just makes the league better. So going through the stats here for Colorado, Javon Kilgo, 25 out of 39, 254 yards, 5 TDs, 2 interceptions, 5 rushing attempts for 26 yards. Rushing, best rushing performance of running back Devontae Jackson, 7 attempts, 15 yards, also 2 receptions for 14 yards. Wide receiver Stephen Nobold, 5 receptions for 74 yards, 3 TDs. Wide receiver Bezed Woodley, 8 receptions, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns. Uh, also, a defensive lineman got some touchdown love there. Stephen Fluker, 1 reception, 2 yards for a touchdown. And best defender, former St. Louis Bellhawk Joe Powell, 5 tackles and 1 interception with 1 like pass protect as well. So glad to see him still playing. We'll see if he comes to the UFL a little bit later like he did last year. Southwest Cabin Store, Matt Struck, did more stuff with his legs than he did with his arm. 10 for 17, 92 yards, 1 interception, 11 rushing attempts for 31 yards, 3 rush TDs. Running back Jaden Sutton, 10 rushing attempts, 61 yards, and 4 TDs. Wide receiver Demarius Washington, 3 receptions and 36 yards. Best defensive performance went to linebacker Avon DiMaggio, 10 tackles, 2 attacks, and 1 pass defense. So that was, like I said, very close game and very competitive. These are the type of games that all leagues arena want. So Southwest Kansas Storm, Colorado, I believe, has a few wins. They're in the middle right now. Like I said, they're doing a heck of a lot better compared to last year. Now we get to the Omaha Beef, like I mentioned earlier, and they face the Sioux City Bandits, and this wasn't even close. It was a close in scoring, but dear Lord, Omaha didn't even start to actually put points on the board until the final quarter, and it's just amazing how, the scoring does not match some of the stats that are on for all the Omaha Beef. And the Sioux City Bandits beat the Omaha Beef 26-6. Low scoring. It's mostly a defensive battle, but Omaha just couldn't get much on offense until the fourth quarter. My Lord. Sioux City Bandits quarterback Lorenzo Brown, 14-17. 98 yards, 2 TDs, 7 rushing attempts or 20 yards and a rushing TD. Running back Jeff Mack II, 13 attempts, 32 yards, 1 reception for 5 yards. Wide receiver Damon Powell, 6 receptions, 42 yards, and a touchdown. Wide receiver Brandon Shepard, 3 receptions, 20 yards, and a touchdown, and a rushing attempt for 3 yards. Best defensive performance, Carden Watkins, 10 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 pass breakup. Omaha quarterback James Summers, 18 through 29, 147 yards. You would think that would be good. One touchdown, 11 attempts for 22 yards. Wide receiver William Langford was the lone touchdown getter of 23 yards at a touchdown. And best defensive performance, Jalen Johnson, 3 tackles, 1 sack, 2.5 tackles for loss. Like I said, I'm still surprised that Omaha's just doing as bad as here. Then one game that I watched really closely and pretty much was the game of the week for the National Arena League was the Pablo Punishers versus the Selena Liberty. And this was, like I said, kind of similar to the first game, really close, really entertaining. And of course, Pablo, the one problem they need to fix is their kicking. They're like PATs, because even the commentary said, like, they're scoring touchdowns, but you're just not getting the PATs, and they need to fix that. And Pablo, like, and this game, like I said, this was Pablo just like they just need little things that'll just go up ahead, but they took their first loss of the season to the Selena Liberty, and it was a very good close game and lasted to the end, 40-34. And like I said, I would not be surprised if this came up to be a playoff matchup or come to a deal where this could be the National Arena League Championship, because this was a very good game, but I would not mind to see a rematch of these two pretty soon here. And tell you one thing, Joshua Holland, with passing leg get injured, has done well the last 2 weeks, and like he's just very good. Like you would think, because like with Panchalit's down for right now, and Holland's just stepped up the last two and just bring pretty good, even though they lost like just two great performances here. 17 through 27, 206 passing yards, 4 TDs, 11 attempts for 22 rushing yards for a rush TD. Fullback Joel L. Shaw, 3 attempts for 1 yard, 4 receptions for 49 yards. Wide receiver Patrick McSweeney, 4 receptions, 35 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Aaron Dilworth, 6 receptions, 76 yards, a touchdown. Best defensive performer, linebacker Chris Munakata, very interesting name, 2 tackles and 1 pass defense. Selena, they mostly got their scoring pretty good on when it comes to either pass, mostly on the ground, thanks to the running back Tracy Brooks. They have one of the best rushing attacks I've seen in a while in arena football with him. Evan Ledowski, their quarterback, not bad, but I think if they just had a little bit more better completions, they would be fine. Was pretty much down the middle with 50 completions, 11 out of 22, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 rushing attempts for 11 yards. Tracy Brooks, 15 rushing attempts, 77 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 reception for 18. Boy, if they could do some more screens with Brooks, they would be real good. Wide receiver Duke Williams, 5 receptions, 43 yards, 2 touchdowns. Then best defensive former like 2 years ago was the defensive player of the year, Travis Taylor, 7 tackles, and the sack that he got in the fourth was huge, and he was a beast during this game, dear Lord. Then you got the Amarillo Warbirds and the Dallas Bulls, and you got basically 2 teams that are still kind of like on the lower percentile at the bottom, but somehow, like, I thought the second worst team would be the Dallas Bulls, but Dallas Bulls surprised us in the arena football poll community, and were able to beat the Amarillo Warbirds 46-29, and it was just like, it's good in a way, and it's still kind of funny now that the Omaha Beef are now the only winless team in the National Arena League, but still, it's kind of funny in a way, like I said, because you seen that league was fit to form for the Omaha Beef to try to win every single year. But I digress. Amarillo Warbirds quarterback Demi Croft, 20-21, 102 yards, a touchdown and interception. 11 attempts, 64 yards, 3 rush TDs. Running back Josh Patisse, 5 attempts, 4 yards. Wide receiver Christian Stokely, 4 receptions, 23 yards, and a touchdown. Defensive back Jalen Jackson, 3 tackles, and Dimitri. That's another thing. Dimitri Croft didn't do much pass wise because most of his game is in the running. Like I said, it's because 1 pass against 3 rushing TDs. Dallas Bulls, Samuel Seward, 5 to 13, 99 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 attempts, 18 yards, 1 rush TD. And same thing too. We got another team where the running back is getting most of the scoring deal with running back Dejan, sorry, Richard, 10 attempts, 58 yards, 3 touchdowns. Linebacker, 1 reception, 22 yards and a touchdown, and defensive back Michael Cotton, 2 tackles, 1 reception, and got a defensive touchdown with that too. So that deals with the National League, and it's probably going to get real close to it, going real close to how it's going to go with National League. It's a lot more competitive and a lot more with the newer teams, making a whole different landscape. And trust us, a lot of us prefer that. And let just be rather than just same old, same old. Now, when it comes to the Indoor Football League, it's week 4. And during the deal, they have their games because the thing with FanDuel Sports is falling through, and FanDuel Sports, that channel is going to go bye-bye here pretty soon. Heck, they even announced today that all the NHL and NBA teams are associated with. They're saying that, well, we're not doing this anymore, so they're going to be doing something else. So the IFL had to change a few things, and their games are on the Yahoo Sports Network, which you can watch either by the Yahoo Sports app, their YouTube channel, on Prime, and all sorts of stuff too. Then they announced the other way to watch the game is on the Overnight app. And unfortunately, with that one, with the games they have on there, it does require a subscription, about $12 a month to be able to watch those games. Kind of could be uh kind of like comparable with the IFL network, but the thing is, you got some other stuff too going into that price and just the IFL stuff. So I can kind of see it, but in order to see some of those most, like for example, with this week, there's 4 games on Overnight that are only on the Overnight app this weekend. But we'll just have to see. But here's the thing: the one thing there's some positives and negatives when it comes to IFL. They kind of revamped their stats still, which does look better. But another problem is you get one game that apparently didn't have their box score stats with all the right stuff there. Like it seems like they take 3 steps forward and then 2 steps back. And the first game, unfortunately, they didn't provide the box stats, even though the other Yahoo Sports Network game did. But it's a game that I did watch very closely, and that was the Tuscan Sugar Skulls against the the newest team, the New Mexico Chupacabras. And I'll say this: when it comes to expansion teams play, New Mexico Chupacabras are pretty close of doing pretty good stuff here. Just some little bitty things, and it will be just fine. Unfortunately, beginning the game, here's the one thing they probably need to learn is that when you bring enough active players, make sure you hope to fill the right positions to bring them, because unfortunately, one of their offensive linemen got injured, and they only brought 3 offensive linemen. So now they're going to learn they had to bring one of their defensive ends to take that spot there. And also, I will say this: the commentating crew that worked this game, uh, I'll say was okay. Though, like both of them had experiences. The woman had actually a good amount of experience. Just there's some stuff that she didn't know apparently, but she played arena football actually before for the Lingerie Football League, and actually was part of a team that was a 2-time champs. And she did make a joke. Apparently, didn't they're still she's still waiting for the rings to come in the mail, so that was kind of funny. Uh, I'll just say with New Mexico and with Tuscan was one of the worst teams, and then New Mexico being one of the new ones. Tuscan was able to, and the Tuscan was able to come out 45-40, but early in this game, it looks like New Mexico was going to get stomped pretty early, but then New Mexico got up and like was coming back, and it seemed like it was getting close. It's just that if only they didn't have, if they had another offensive lineman, because there was some trouble there. If only they were able to uh able to have a good replacement, they could have probably won this game. It was just this type of little thing this close for them to get the victory and their first victory this season. They're still winless for their inaugural season when it comes to Mexico. And I will say, when it comes to Mexico, I did like the arena they play in. It's kind of interesting that their uniforms kind of match the most of the seat colors in their arena. So we'll see how it goes there, and just see how it goes for the new team. And with the Sugar Skulls improving, and basically with the Battle of Arizona with the three teams, we'll see how it goes for them. Next game, like one thing when it comes to the IFL, like you would think that Green Bay might have to throw, since they're both their starting quarterback and running back went to Arizona Rattlers. No, they're still being good and they're still undefeated here. The Green Bay Blizzard facing our Barnstormers. And one thing I'll say to Iowa Barnstormers, finally improving. Because, dear Lord, like, is like they're still kind of losing, but doing close game. But at least they're doing losing that way, because there were a few last year. It was like, so Green Bay was able to like it like Green Bay had the momentum first, and Iowa started to come back, and then it just that. And then the second half, the fourth quarter, if there were just a few things our Barnstormers could have actually pulled this out here, but it's good to see that there's some improvement. And then, strangely, with a lot of the stall players, like I said, for the Green Bay Blizzard, leave for another team, but still able to stay in where they're supposed to be, is just quite interesting. So good deal for the Blizzard. Uh, and the Blizzard beats the Iowa Barnstormers 50-39. Uh, the Blizzard's quarterback Liam Thompson, 10-18, 140 yards, 3 touchdowns, 7 rushing attempts, -1 yards, and a rush TD. Running back Demeline Brown, 5 attempts, 29 yards, and a touchdown. Wide receiver Drayshawn Hudson, 4 receptions, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Wide receiver Trevon Alexander, 2 receptions, 33 yards, 1 TD, 1 attempt, 11 yards, and a rush TD. Defense was Trayon Greg. For some reason, they don't put the positions of the defenders of their stats for some reason. Got about 9 tackles. Ira Barnstormers, Harry Robidoux, 18-33, 194 yards, 6 TDs, 1 interception, 9 attempts, 12 USC. Such a good performance for the quarterback. Just their defense just needs a little bit of work. Wide receiver DeMonte Martin, 5 receptions, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Uh, Did I say running back Nazan Brian Leller, 16 rushing for 65 yards. Wide receiver Donald McKinney, 7 receptions, 60 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Curtis Ravenel, 4 receptions, 47 yards, 3 touchdowns. And best defensive performance for the Barnstormers, Austin Emmons, 2 tackles, 0 assists, and a sack. Then next, you got the Quad City Steamers and the newly moved former the newly moved Orlando Pirates, and very good close game. Steamwheelers had the momentum first, then the Pirates just came back and beat the Steamwheelers 49-46. Very close, and I like these close competitive games, so this is actually was pretty good and interesting start for the new moved Orlando Pirates. I'm kind of wondering how the fan bases, because now there's 2 football teams playing at the same time, the Orlando Pirates and then the Orlando Storm in the UFL. So this is going to be kind of interesting. And also the interesting part is that next year, the Jacksonville Jaguars will temporarily be playing in Orlando while the renovations to their stadium in Jacksonville will be during that period in 2027. So, like I said, the Quad City Steamwheelers lose to the Orlando Pirates 49-46. Daquan Neal, 13-26, 175 yards, 3 touchdowns, an interception, 12 rushing attempts, 59 yards, 2 rushing TDs. Running back Gerard Ware, 7 attempts, 17 yards, 3 receptions, 33 yards. Wide receiver Quinn Williams, 6 receptions, 100 yards for 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Jordan Versay, 3 receptions, 26 yards, and a touchdown. Defensive, and then Kaon Pud, 1 attempt, 3 yards with a rushing TD and 1 reception for 2 yards as well. Uh, Best defense performance, Keyshawn Moore, 1 tackle, 2 assists, 1 interception, and also a defensive touchdown. Then also their risk, their, go ahead, let me double check here. I remember now. Quarter now for the Quad Cities team Oilers, quarterback Peyton DeLaurent, 18 to 25, 23, 236 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1 rush TD. Running back Naquan Murray, 2 attempts, negative 5 yards, a touchdown, 2 receptions, 20 yards, and a touchdown. Interesting with that stat, huh? Wide receiver Theo Redding, 6 receptions, 88 yards, 1 touchdown for Orlando. Puka Williams, 5 receptions, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Thomas Owens, 5 receptions, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Defensive performance, Roe Terrence, 8 tackles, 1 interception. And then also returner Dante White, 46, 4 returns, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Then, of course, the last one, which I watched with the Arizona Rattlers versus the second year. This is for Fisher's Freight, and uh and Fisher, this was a home game for the Freight and played very well. And actually, with the new firepower with Max Maylor and also Kamani Clark from Green Bay moving to them now with the Rattlers. And you would think, I thought that Arizona would probably win, but Fisher Freight actually did well with this game and actually played better, more good in the first half than the second, and then in the second half as well, beating the Arizona Rattlers 63-42. And this was a kind of a pretty good back and forth game until the until when in the third dear Lord, again, second quarter, most of the points went to Fisher Freight. Then it kind of went back and forth again, third and fourth quarter, but Fisher's just did a little bit more in order to beat the Arizona Rattlers. Uh, Arizona quarterback Max Maylor, 17 to 25, 198 yards, 4 TDs, 1 interception, 7 rushing attempts, 22 yards, and a rush TD. Running back Kamani Clark, 2 attempts, 11 yards, and a touchdown. 2 receptions, 39 yards, and 2 TDs. Wide receiver Arlen Bruce, 5 receptions, 49 yards. Wide receiver Trey Odoms Dukes, 4 receptions for 32 yards. Best defensive reports for the Rattlers, Hayden Hatcher, 4 tackles and 3 assists. Fisher's Freight, Felix Harper, 6 through 8, 66 yards, 3 TDs, 9 attempts for 47 rushing yards. Running back Dominic Roberto, 10 attempts, 56 yards, 3 TDs. Running back Josiah King, 6 attempts, 41 yards, 2 rushing TDs, 4. Then you also got 4 returns, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Wide receiver JT Stokes, 2 receptions, 34 yards, 1 TD, 4 attempts, and 25 yards. Wide receiver Isaiah Carter, 4 receptions, 32 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And best defensive performance, Cornelius Montgomery, 6 tackles and 4 assists. Now we get to the games here. And another thing, too, is like I said, with April right now, got the NAL, the IFL, and the AIF, and they're going to be ending sometime next month in May. Then you also, at the end of April, you got the International really beginning their inaugural play with some optimism and also some questions that I have for them. Then in May, pretty soon you're going to have the AAL and the indoor, and then you're also going to have the Arena League. And another thing too about the AAL, they're going to have a draft, the AAL. So that's, I don't know, usually with a league that does a draft, it usually doesn't happen pretty well, but we will see. So see how that goes. And right now, the Arena League, they're having their training camps now as they prepare for their opener season in May. All right, now going into the games for this upcoming weekend. No Friday games whatsoever. All the games are either Saturday or Sunday. No games on on Friday, which is kind of interesting with this type of year for these two leagues. So I digress. So National League Week 6, first we got the Seoul City Bandits against the Southwest Kansas Storm. This is going to be a good one. This game is going to be all the three games will be on the NAL network. This will be played at 6 Central Time, and uh, for how close this is, I actually see. I'll just put a little bit more on the Southwest Kansas Storm there. The Louisiana Rubaroo gets the Pablo Punishers at their place at 6:30 Mountain Time on the National Arena League network. Pablo's going to win this. Louisiana's doing better, but they ain't that good just yet. Then you got the final game for the National Arena League, the Amarillo Warbirds against the Carlisle Spartans at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. I'm gonna go with the Spartans on that one. Amarillo is like they've still got to work some things out. IFL week 4. We got or it's either that no week 5. Sorry. Oh, let me double check because sometimes my pen. No, week 5. Week 5. First game. This will be on the Overnight app on Saturday at 6 o'clock Eastern time. The Northern Arizona Wranglers are the New Mexico Chupacabras. I think they'll get some things fixed to be able to have the finish their thing with their offensive line. I think they will get the first victory. Then the Yahoo Sports Network game is the Iowa Barnstormers against the Fisher Freight at 7 o'clock Eastern time. I'm gonna go with Fisher's Freight on that one. Then also on Saturday, the Green Bay Blizzard against the Quad City Steamwheelers. That's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be on overnight at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Go with the Blizzard. Then the next game, the next hour at 8 o'clock. I mean at 9 o'clock on overnight will be the San Antonio Gunslingers against the Arizona Rattlers. I'm gonna go with Arizona on that one. Then the final Saturday game for the Indoor Football League, the San Diego Strike Force gets the Tuscan Sugar Skulls. That one's either a toss-up. That's also on the overnight app. I'll go with the San Diego Strike Force. Then the both Sunday games for the IFL are on Yahoo Sports Network. They're going to be back to back, so that's good. Tulsa Oilers against the Orlando Pirates at Orlando at 4 o'clock Eastern time. That one I'm going with Orlando. Then the final game, the Jacksonville Sharks that are undefeated and the Vegas Nighthawks that are 1-1. Playing in Vegas on Yahoo at 7:30 Eastern. I'll have Vegas making Jacksonville no longer undefeated. Now for the AF1 games. So the first game's on Saturday at 4:55 p.m. Central Time on the Vice Network, and like I said earlier, their starting quarterback got signed to the Houston Gamblers of the UFL, and the Minnesota Monsters in their inaugural season kind of rebranded from the Duluth Harbor Monsters from the Arena League. There, I agree, and I know Luke Miller's going to be happy about this. Minnesota Monsters going to beat the defending crown champions. Then you got two new teams facing each other on Sunday at 3:55 on the Hometown Network. The Kentucky Barrows versus the Michigan Arsenal at Michigan. It's a coin toss because since I don't know how this is their first game, I'm going to go with actually the Kentucky Barrels on that one. The second Sunday game is the Oregon Lightning against the Washington Wolfpack at Washington at 4:55 Central Time on the Hometown Network. I am hoping for this. Like, I want the Washington Wolfpack to improve greatly how they played the last 2 years, so I'm going to go with the Washington Wolfpack. Then Sunday, you got the defending National League champions that move from the National League to the AF1, the Baymont Renegades, facing their newer team that moved from out west that plays close to the San Diego Strike Force of the IFL, the Oceanside Bombers. I'm going to go with Baymont since they have experience and Oceanside just about to be throwing their their heads into the fire in a way because this is their first time ever, but things can be surprising. Then the only other game happening this week is the Cedar Rapids team for the AIF playing the traveling team Pennsylvania Union. It's going to be Cedar Rapids. So that's all the games that are happening this weekend. NAL only three. All the teams are playing for the IFL. Almost all teams for the AF1. The Nashville Cats are not playing. And then only one game with Cedar Rapids. And see how that schedule goes. It's now they don't even have two teams. And may I remind everyone, the Muskies was a rebrand of the Cornville Chaos, and then the Wyoming Calvary was a basically a new team that moved over to that league. And honestly, if Wyoming does pretty well, they're probably going to go somewhere else because the AIF pretty based. They don't. I don't think they trust the AIF, and they're undefeated. So that's going to be kind of interesting there. So we'll see how it goes here. A lot of action this weekend, and hope everyone be able to watch these and watch all sorts of football, not just with Arena, but also UFL football as well. And like I said, it's just going to get a little bit more because soon the International Arena League is going to start play here soon. Then the Arena League, then the AAL. So pretty going to be a lot of games for the cover through on this show, and it's going to be quite interesting and fun here, and hoping for some fun here, especially what after happened with my mom a month ago. So thank you for joining me this evening on Gateway Sports on Arena Frontier, and I'm going to probably try to get Zach Hillman on, especially before the International League starts play, since he's right there next where the Arizona Juggernauts play, and he's talking to some of the people there, so I want to hear from him and also surprise him, especially with their championship game being played in Vegas. He's not that far, but also, do we think the $2 million thing is going to last, or will that change? So we'll see how it goes there, and thank you for joining me this evening. See you all next Tuesday.